I'm looking upstream on the Secesh River, which flows down through the valleys of Warren, Idaho. It's late in the afternoon. We're leaving the area, but this is what the first prospectors saw. There might be elk and moose and deer along the stream bed or out in the water, but nonetheless there were rising mountains and very few people when the first prospectors stepped in to Warren's, Idaho. I'm standing on the old trail where all those 50 and 60 mule teams carried all the equipment into this area. It's dead silent now, but you can imagine the noise of all the influx. People knowing they were close to the bonanza and still had miles to go. I love going to places where pioneers walked, fought, talked, and lived. It makes you feel part of it all. The Secesh River, on its way down to the South Fork of the Salmon River. The water before you in the central part of Idaho follows its course down the Salmon River, into the Snake River, into the Columbia River, and into the Pacific Ocean. This water right here has a long way to go, but it does a lot of good as it travels to the resting waters of the Pacific. We are just on the banks of the Secesh Fire Community Center, the only fire protection these people living up here have in the immediate area. There are a lot of challenges living in the backcountry. Forest fire is the most deadly, particularly that caused by lightning strikes. We have been driving through miles and miles and miles of burned out forest land. You can always tell them in the background. No limbs, no needles, just sentinels pointing skyward. We're in the valley of the Secesh River and its course as it wanders to the South Fork of the Salmon River. Most of this land was settled right after or near the end of the Civil War, 1864, 65, 66. The northern peoples congregated in one area, the southern sympathizers in another, and this river is always inquired about, what's that name mean, Secesh? Well, the southern folk were the first ones into this area that punctured the gold fields, and they had seceded from the Union, so they were secessionists. And they named this river after themselves, Secesh Meadows. And that's where the name came from. The remains of a forest fire. Lightning caused, sometimes man caused, but most of these are lightning caused. And they're devastating. But they're part of nature's plan to make things right and rejuvenate, as is evidenced by the new growth at the bottom of the picture. It wasn't reseeded except by the hand of God. Look what it can do. As it is in all western towns, little streams, little creeks came running through the downtown area. At first it was for cooking and washing, but it later grew to carry gold, flakes, and nuggets. And so it was not uncommon to watch huge fortunes being dredged out of the creeks that ran through town. You see, when you want to do something bad enough, you do whatever it takes to get the job done. And with the influx of new prospectors and all of the energy and effort that was being expended, the wise person just walked out his backyard and began to pan the creek that ran there, and found money just as much as the ones in the better places. This is a high-level mountain valley, 6,000 feet. Not many people here, 30 feet of snow in the winter. But I just talked to an old-timer, 92 years old, and he informed me just moments ago that this town would never die because he intended to keep it alive for as long as he could breathe. You see, it makes no difference who you are, what you do, or how old you are. Success works for the pretty and the ugly. So you qualify. We all do. But what separates those that have from those that don't is they're not lazy, and they're patiently working towards their dreams and goals every day. Period. Each town also had a watering hole, if you will, a saloon. There was grocery stores and houses of ill repute, needed to strengthen one's resolve. And then small one grocery store usually. You're looking right into the heart of what's now known as the bomb shelter. They just called it the bar in 1862. But it's been in continual operation and service. A few revamps, rebuilds, improvements. But it was at the intersection of the north-south road, main road intersector, with the east-west main road intersector. You can't get any more in the middle than that. And now you know the rest of the story. Peace and love to all of you. Papa Bear.